Here we are in the Golden Thread Gallery with Alan Lewis from the Northern Ireland Press Photographers Association. He's just going to explain what this is on the wall here. It's obviously...
Well, the gallery, the Golden Thread Gallery is showing for the second year the winning entries in the Northern Ireland Press Photography Year Awards, which were sponsored by BT, who've been on board with us for the last 3 years, and it features the best of press photography from around Northern Ireland. We've got over 40 entries from different photographers and around 500 prints, and we brought in judges from England and from Dublin to go through the entries, and these are the winning selections, featuring just not only the national newspaper guys' work, but also stuff from the provincial newspapers, which is an integral part of our association, the members. From Charles McQuillan, who's Photographer of the Year. This is one of his portfolio pictures.
He's the guy we're going to be chatting to next.
He's the chap we're going to be chatting to about the heart operation. Yeah, he was in for a heart operation and photographed the whole thing from start to finish, from when he left the house to he returned to the house, and he'll tell you himself about the background of that, but it was a fantastic portfolio, and one of the big things that really impressed the judges, since he won the BT Photographer of the Year, and these pictures have been published in the Daily Mirror in London, then picked up by the Daily Mirror website. They've gone global, and he's had pictures sent out all around the world, Chile, Brazil, you name it. Every country in the world is just fascinated by the fact that he photographed his own heart surgery.
Was it because maybe he's the first person ever to do that?
I would say it was the originality, innovation, and the technical quality. I mean, he had to persuade the surgeons, obviously, he'll tell you himself, he had to persuade the surgeons to set this all up, but you know, it's just a fantastic piece of photojournalism, and unique because the subject was himself. But you'll see later on, he'll talk you through it, you know, and we'll sort of go on along here with Peter Morrison from Associated Press, sort of works for an international agency. It's quite a surrealistic picture of the Queen. It's just taken when she was at the Coca-Cola plant at Luton near Lisburn. We go through.
There's actually a mate of mine, I know him.
Yeah, with a bottle of water, yeah. We go along, this one here is particularly good. It's very, very simple, straightforward picture, but the two brothers from County Fermanagh, John McVitie was the impartial reporter photographer who took the picture, and it was part of his winning portfolio. He won the provincial photographer of the year. It's just a really strong picture. That the guys are just real characters, and sort of really what you'd expect to find. That's not a terrible thing to say.
I don't have to say something there.
I love Fermanagh, and I love the people.
You mean country folk?
Well, the English say a dentist, I think, but anyway. Yeah, these other ones name
Is that one of the last images of
It's one of the last images of Felix, sort of very, very haunting. Good use of black and white. Again, Bond Farm, one of Charles's winning portfolio, and this one below is again one of John McVitie's, the Fermanagh chap, part of his winning portfolio. The pictures are all mixed up, but all the captions are below them, and the photographers where they were taken. This one by Justin Kernan, just the witching hour, sort of a Halloween picture, just quite nice. You got.
Is that Durham?
Well, that's when Tyrone got into the final of the All Ireland, and Mark Pearce, the photographer, reenacted the famous picture of the Americans raising the flag.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Iwo Jima, I'm not sure exactly, but it was just, the light was just perfect for it. It's just a good idea. It's sort of, it was an old theme, but he translated it into the euphoria in Tyrone at the time, so very, very nice. And he did win an award with that one, so. And then you've got sort of junior rugby and stuff. Steel cage fighting there with Simon Graham from Harrison's Photography.
It's a good photo.
Almost.
Floodlights are doing a good job, right?
Yeah, no, it's just the judges remarked on that. Again, that was one of Charles's pictures. Just the diversity of everything that photographers cover in Northern Ireland, you know, it's all there, you know, from...
That's a fashion shoot outside the paint, outside somewhere.
That's Hillsborough Castle waiting for developments on a big political moment, and there was nothing happening and the press all went for cover just when the snowstorm came through, so it was just quite nice lighting and something to do while there was nothing happening. They disappeared, funeral of one of the victims here, just very emotive. They waited a long time to get them back. Riots. I mean, photographers cover everything here. You know, sometimes they're dangerous situations, sometimes they're routine, like, you know, a little girl trying to get water during the Northern Ireland water crisis. So the photographers have to go out and do basically what's in front of them and try and interpret it as best they can.
I remember the guy who took the photograph and it was the bird. It was on the wee kids. They had malnutrition. And he shot the award-winning photograph and everyone lauded it. And then a couple of weeks later said, well, hold on a minute. You should have saved the kid, never mind taking the photograph. And he went back and he became like, it affected him his whole life.
All right, okay.
He's always remembered for the person that, so it's obviously a thing, you know, you got to be a wee bit humanitarian, I suppose.
Well,
I don't know.
You do come up against situations when you're out in the road there. I mean, for example, the other night, just in West Belfast, there was a photographer shot.
I know.
You know, so you know, the circumstances. It could have been anybody on that particular night, but there was another photographer hit by a half brick the night before. So, you know, I mean, people just see the pictures in the newspapers and sort of think, you know, that's it. But you know, sometimes it can be very dangerous for the photographers working out there on the ground. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'll introduce you to Charles
here.
Sure.
And, you did that maybe. That's right. Here we are with Alan Lewis and Charles McQuillan. Charles won the BT Northern Ireland Photojournalist of the Year award. I think it was with this striking piece here. I'd say maybe you're the first person ever that's photographed your own.
I think so. I'm not totally sure, but we're pretty sure that it hasn't been done before, so it was unique.
You put your heart like in front of the lens and behind it almost.
Yeah, kind of from my point of view, it was a distraction. It was a way of dealing with what was going on. So when I was thinking about angles and apertures and exposures, I was able to sort of kind of get out of the room in many ways, you know. So, and it was interesting watching the dynamic. Usually, whenever you know it's a patient-doctor situation, the doctor is, you know, the main guy. But whenever the cameras were switched on, it was interesting to watch everybody kind of were on their toes, you know. So it was a bit of a switch around.
What did your family think of, you know, maybe raw emotions being?
I think they're pretty used to. Cameras around the house, so it was kind of just, you know, it was just another day, and that's kind of once I was about an hour into it, that's kind of the way I treated it. Was just another day at work. I kind of sort of deluded myself into thinking once the camera was up in front of me, I was able to just sort of, you know, let it be another day at work, you know, and it would be maybe not 9 to 5, but it would be over hopefully at the end of the day with a result.
And was it like, did it help? Did it help to distract you? Was it more cathartic?
Totally, absolutely. I mean, it kind of brought it around full circle. Certainly what the award did, a kind of closure with it. That, you know, I wasn't going to be defined by the heart condition. I was going to be defined by being a photographer, and this was a way of, you know, sort of mastering the situation to a certain extent.
And I've been told that you're getting a lot of really good feedback on it. It's been people have requested it and all over the world, and a lot of different.
There's been quite a bit. The BBC Award Service picked up, and quite a few sort of national websites picked up, and then it went kind of, you know, European, and then it went global. So, I have to admit, looking at pictures myself gets old pretty quick. Probably the pictures that have garnered the most attention are the ones on the operating table, but for me, the sort of most interesting ones are more the kind of ones of the kids and of Sarah.
Yeah, that's kind of one there.
Yeah, probably my favourite picture.
Well, that would be it for me, and I'm sure it's hard, you know, when you know, look, And there's some big competition here. These are really.
Some fantastic. I mean, Northern Ireland punches above its weight as regards press photographers. I mean, we have a fantastic elite band of press photographers that don't get the credit that they should do, but when it comes to sort of UK and worldwide competitions, we really do punch above our weight, and do deserve much more credit than is given,
And what do you think it means now to have won this? What does it do for yourself? Does it put you in a bigger spotlight?
It means that I'm kind of able to hold my own with the likes of this gentleman here. That I'm maybe not up to that, I'm not that legendary yet, but
well, he's been bigging you up, enough,
no, I know, but
Not that old.
but it's nice to sort of be considered amongst some of the sort of famous press photographers that have come out of Belfast, come out of Northern Ireland. That's an honour in itself.
Brilliant. I think that's about it. I can't think of.
Cool.
But,
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. No problem.